Welcome to Charts Today. My name's David Linton, and today's edition for Tuesday, the 26th of June, comes to you from London. The dollar still just below the cloud there on the short-term chart, so we're just seeing this short-term weakness continuing, but we still do have these upside targets. So we expect at some point this will cross, and the medium-term trend will continue. And that, of course, means that the euro is looking a little bit stronger as it continues its rise above the cloud. But are we forming a double bottom, or will we go lower? That's the big question here at the moment. But euro is just showing some short-term strength. Dollar is a bit weaker against the Japanese yen, and sterling is also just holding on against the dollar at 133, but still medium term looking pretty bearish. Against the euro, sterling is bearish. Against the Swiss franc, sterling is bearish. And against the Australian dollar, sterling is just climbing a little bit on Aussie dollar weakness. Bitcoin was up quite significantly yesterday, just had a jump, but just starting to get through the cloud on the short-term chart, but really still medium and long-term looking pretty dire. US stock indices all fell fairly sharply yesterday. We had the S&P down 0.5%. We had the Nasdaq down quite significantly, down 2% overnight, and with the Dow also down quite heavily, down 0.5%. So it was very much tech stocks driving down the indices in the US, and the broader-based Russell also turning bearish there short term. We are seeing a little bit of recovery in the futures this morning, but and it does suggest markets will open slightly higher in the US, but it's still the picture of sell-off there. UK market is finding new multi-week lows, so that's also looking still bearish on that short-term chart, and the mid-caps in the UK also falling lower. Looking at the DAX, we're seeing this also bearish below the cloud, and a medium-term chart starting to look a bit worrying here as well. Market's really just struggling to make new highs, and the CAC Quarante also, having looked quite good several weeks ago, is now starting to look pretty bearish on the downside. Japanese yen, the Japanese market was slightly up overnight, but still looking pretty bearish on that short-term situation. And the Hang Seng looking very worrying indeed. It's the Chinese market taking a real hit on these trade sanctions. And here we see the Chinese index for Shanghai, and again looking pretty low. Got a new downside target of 5% if we go lower still. The Indian market, Sensex, was actually up slightly, looking more resilient than most Asian markets, and the Australian market was also higher on that weaker dollar. Crude oil sitting at $75 for Brent, so we're back into bullish territory there. WTI sitting at $68 and back into bullish territory there as well. US nat gas sitting at $2.93, just struggling to make any real headway. Gold sitting at 1263 this morning, so still in that bearish mode, just teetering along at these levels at the moment. And silver also looking slightly bearish below the cloud, although a little bit better than gold. US 10-year yield sitting at 2.9%, so bearish short term. And then looking at the tech majors, we see that Apple had quite a sell-off yesterday, down nearly 1%. Amazon really sold off heavily, having been the better performer of most tech stocks this year. Back into bearish territory here now, down heavily overnight. And Alphabet also lower as well, down below the cloud. So we are seeing the tech majors all just turning bearish short term. Facebook holding its position a bit better than most, but back below the $200 mark. And Microsoft also looking bearish now, just holding on to the $100 mark by the skin of its teeth. That's it for today. Until tomorrow, happy charting. See you then.